prepare to journey into a realm where life and death blur their boundaries. Welcome to our Hell Paradise recap, where we'll unravel the harrowing tale of Gabimaru the Hollow. The anime begins when a man charged with the heinous crimes of murder is about to be executed. Shockingly, the executioner fails as his sword breaks into two. The man turns out to be Gabimaru, the former shinobi of Iwagakure village. Later in the cell, a lady approaches Gabimaru bearing questions about his past. Gabimaru narrates that he does not know much about his parents besides that they were killed by the village chief. Later, Gabimaru was married to the chief's naive daughter, but one day his co-workers betrayed him when he tried to escape the village. It turns out that the record keeper is Sagiri Yamada, and she hails from the executioner clan. Sagiri maintains that she is here to grant Gabimaru's desire to end his life, but she stuns Gabimaru when she pulls out the official pardon decree for Gabimaru. However, this decree comes with a condition. He will have to travel to the mysterious place of Shinsekyo and bring the Elixir of Life. On the ocean shore, all the selected death roll criminals are produced before the 11th Seitite shogun. The executioners brief the prisoners about the journey they are about to take. When the lone survivor of the last expedition is produced before them, his appearance sends chills down their spines. In this journey, Sagiri is tasked as Gabimaru's supervisor. The executioners reveal that there is a limited space available to take only a specific number of prisoners. Just after hearing the announcement, the prisoners begin going all out at each other. Gabimaru initially tries to oppose the idea of killing each other, but it's of no use. The executioners in return lure others to kill Gabimaru and earn a spot. With no other option but to fight, Gabimaru unsheathes the monster inside him and butchers one after the other opponent, and single-handedly reduces the number significantly enough to begin the expedition. Back in his childhood, Gabimaru witnessed the demonstration of immortality by the chief of the village, entirely due to the medicine acquired from the seas long ago. The ship takes them to an outlandish place, covered with greenery and flowers. A cold murderer Twisted Kyun stands before them laughing at Gabimaru. Initially, Gabimaru does not want to fight him, but Kyun instigates him to fight. Gabimaru accepts his challenge and in return, he eliminates Kyun with his weapons stabbed all over his body. Gabimaru realizes that he must find the elixir before the arrival of Iwagakure. However, the only limitation in this case is Sagiri. Therefore, Gabimaru attempts to kill her before heading forward. Gabimaru tries to overcome his feelings and eventually finds himself above Sagiri with his sword held on her neck. But despite all his effort, Gabimaru fails to put up the courage to kill her. Sagiri takes motivation from Gabimaru's changed personality, which helps her to accept her inner self and overcome the fears engulfing her. Gabimaru confronts a peculiar creature standing before him, an odd fusion of a fish with human hands adorned with prayer beads. The creature seizes hold of him and forcefully hurls Gabimaru back to the surface with even greater strength. Trembling in fear at the sight before her eyes, Sagiri realizes that after entering this hell's paradise, her life has turned upside down. Yuzuri offers Sagiri and Gabimaru to team up with them. Yuzuri comes closer to Gabimaru in an attempt to seduce him, but it's ineffective as he quickly realizes her intentions and sends her away. Yuzuri offers the pieces of information which can be helpful if Gabimaru and Sagiri join their team. Considering the useful information she has, Gabimaru decides to join her team as long as she does not pose a threat to them. Toma narrates how he infiltrated the Yamada clan to set his incarcerated brother Chobi free. Chobi has been protecting him since childhood when they lost their father and they had to suffer for their survival. Sagiri wakes up to a terrifying dream and hear Gabimaru telling everyone that he came across plants similar to those grown on samurai's skin, which means that the plants and inhabitants on this island were once humans. Senta also sides with Gabimaru. His theory suggests that most of the sculptures either resemble Buddhists or Taoist religions. Around the sunset, Genji Dono approaches Sagiri and advises her to head back for safety as Genji is willing to assume her duties. Nurigai-kun and her supervisor make a decisive choice to flee from the eerie island. As their boat navigates the waters, they stumble upon a collection of abandoned ships. The vessels are infested with monstrous beings. Fretted to his core, Nurigai-kun, it's the end of his life. However, his caring supervisor keeps on fighting the monsters and they somehow manages to survive. Gabimaru shares his plan with Sagiri. He has decided not to step back and prepare for a ruthless counter-attack against Iwagakure if they come to the island. As they journey, an unexpected assault by Rokuroda disrupts their path. Gabimaru's airborne strike briefly connects, but deals no damage. Rokuroda's rapid punches follow, narrowly evaded by Gabimaru. Amidst the chaos, Yuzuri remains indifferent, refraining from assistance and content in observing the violent struggle. Gabimaru's ranged assaults prove futile against Rokurota's impregnable defense. Sagiri intervenes, proposing a joint strategy after evaluating their adversary. Their plan aims to create an opening by forcing Rokurota to bend, exposing his vulnerable neck. Gabimaru's agility wavers, leaving him exposed, but Sagiri bravely shields him from the relentless onslaught. Leveraging his ninjutsu, Gabimaru exploits Rokurota's weakness. The flames engulfing Rokurota produce carbon dioxide, weakening him. Struggling to breathe, Rokurota kneels, presenting Sagiri with the opportunity she needs. With unwavering composure, she executes a precise beheading. In their hasty retreat, Sagiri and Gabimaru stumble upon a deserted village. Two brothers encounter a peculiar scene involving two beings. One of beings, named Jufa, reacts angrily, disrupting the atmosphere. Spotting a young girl spying on them, Gabimaru chases after her, revealing her to be a child. As they run, a tree-like creature attacks Gabimaru. Gabimaru dodges the attack while Sagiri deals with the tree creature. When Gabimaru chases her down, they find out her name is Mei. The tree creature proposes leading them to its village, promising information about an elixir. Suspicious, Yuzuri doubts the creature's intentions, but it tempts them to follow his lead. Guided by the creature, they reach the village. The creature shares legends about the island, revealing it to be a realm of gods where the fabled elixir, known as Tan, is said to exist at the island's core, Horahi. The creature mentions the Tencent, immortal creatures of great beauty, whose presence would validate the story. Meanwhile, Chobe faces a formidable foe, Jufa. After losing to Jufa, the brothers find themselves in a pit filled with transformed humans, now flower-like beings. The tree creature, Hako, and Mei reveal they've lived on the island for centuries. Tenza's upbringing is marked by hardship, scavenging for food and trash and turning to theft and fights for survival. In the present, Tenza and Nurugai stroll by the shore, encountering Zujin, who morphs into a human and inquires about slain monsters. Zujin's pursuit thwarts their escape, knocking Tenza aside. Nurugai steps forward as Zujin advances. Tenza attacks, but Zujin's regenerative eyes nullify it. With Shin's aid, they manage to flee. Guided by the uniquely sighted Shin, they elude their pursuer and learn of an exit from the island. Shin seeks allies and probes Tenza's motives for aiding Nurugai. Tenza staunchly defends her innocence, securing Shin's assistance. However, Zujin reappears, sparking a confrontation. Shin intervenes, shielding them and getting injured. Facing Zujin, Tenza fights resolutely, shielding his companions. Despite injuries, he persists until a devastating Zujin attack leaves him gravely wounded. Urging his friends to flee, Tenza's sacrifice is clear. Shin comprehends the situation, escaping with Nurugai. Back in the village, Santa grapples with the gathered information, struggling to find clarity. Later, Gabimaru stresses the importance of a solid plan before venturing into risky actions. Meanwhile, Gabimaru ventures alone towards Horahi. There, he encounters peculiar trees emitting strange voices and comes across a massive door that he believes might lead to the elixir. Zujin emerges, cautioning him to leave. Gabimaru questions Zujin about humans turning into elixirs. Gabimaru skillfully counters Zujin's attack, incapacitating his arm and neck. Despite Gabimaru's potent moves, Zujin's regeneration and strength prove formidable. Zujin morphs into a flower monster, launching lightning strikes. In a hallucination, Gabimaru envisions being with his wife before the monster seizes him. Yet, he retaliates with fire, scorching the monster's arm. Mei arrives and shields him. The Tencents deliberate the human threat, and Rin penalizes Zujin for his failure. They share a drink, aiding Zujin's recovery back into human form. Hako elaborates on the island's transformation into trees, the Tencent's assembly to facilitate passage to Horai, and Horai's profound significance. Gabimaru regains consciousness, reflecting on his battle with Zujin. He mulls over a strategy to conquer the Tencent, grasping their mortality despite their godly demeanor. Fuji and Tommy arrive as Tamiya comments on their condition, wondering if it's time for them to die. They size each other up, considering fighting, but Fuji suggests focusing on gathering information. Gabimaru proposes working together. Tommy threatens him, but Gabimaru doesn't move, indicating he's sincere. Fuji questions Gabimaru's motives, and he explains about the Tencents, powerful creatures that surprise Fuji and Tommy. Gabimaru is about to share more when Mei wakes up. She thanks him for saving her life. Santa deduces that the island's religious system is man-made, created by someone who once transformed humans to return as flowers, potentially a clue to finding the elixir and escaping. Mei introduces the concept of Tao, the power the Tencents use. Hako adds that Tao relates to the universe's origin. Yurugai attempts to ambush Shin, who disarms her and explains his unique perception of the world through waves. They face monsters, and Shin teaches Yurugai to fight them using his wave perception. Meanwhile, Gabimaru, Tommy, and Mei are confronted by monsters. Tommy swiftly defeats them and seeks to learn about Tao from Mei. Chobe climbs the pit, determined to kill Tencents by exploiting their lower body weakness. He battles a Doshi, a rational monster, and almost manages to defeat it with his brute force. However, Doshi summons monsters. Tommy handles the monsters going after his brother, while Chobe continues his fight with the Doshi. The Doshi strikes with lethal intent, but Chobe defends and endures the blow. The battle rages on, and Chobe forces the monster back, noticing his Tao continuously expanding. Perplexed by his transformation, Chobe remains unperturbed, acknowledging the ever-changing world. Charging the Doshi, Chobe withstands energy blasts, striking its weak navel and causing it to bleed. The Doshi retreats, launching an energy blast, narrowly evaded by Chobe. Despite the Doshi's pleas, Tama has already subdued the monsters. The Doshi accumulates Tao energy, but Chobe interrupts, replicating the technique and creating a hole in the Doshi's stomach. Meanwhile, Tamiya seeks Mei's guidance on mastering Tao mid-fight, while Gabimaru's struggle reveals Mei's enigmatic nature. The Doshi leading the pack recognizes Mei and abducts her, explaining her banishment and her role in feeding off humans like the Tencent. Gabimaru objects, and the Doshi reveals Mei's significance in their Tao training. Gabimaru resists, and the Doshis transform, similar to Zujin. Tamiya and Gabimaru fight the transformed Doshis, with Gabimaru using fire techniques. Fuji deciphers Mei's words, emphasizing balanced mental strength to perceive Tao. Gabimaru faces the monsters as Mei observes his immense Tao. Gabimaru anticipates and evades Tao attacks, using tactile insight. Touching the Doshi's fists, he breaks its arm and lands kicks. Tamiya divides the centipede monster, while Gabimaru defeats the butterfly Doshi. In a sudden turn of events, Mudon swiftly decapitates Hako Detention. He asserts that they are the inaugural humans to have reached this place. Hako discloses that Mudon is a Tencent, a unique being, and further reveals that Mudon has hastened Haku's transformation, leading to his loss of awareness. Mudon exposes the island as an experimental ground for humanity. Dishearteningly, Mudon crushes their hopes of finding an elixir on the island, instead disclosing that ingesting tan triggers a transformation into tree-like forms. Yuzuri's quick thinking leads her to launch a surprise attack on Mudon, severing his head, creating an illusion of victory. Yet, Mudon regenerates instantaneously. He commands the Kyoshi to assail Yuzuri, who deftly dodges their assault. Sagiri intervenes abruptly, striking Mudon, while Yuzuri ingests a liquid granting her control over snake poison. Mudon's resilience becomes evident, acknowledging Yuzuri's power as an embodiment of Kai. Mudon expertly evades their barrage, seizing Yuzuri in the process. Sagiri's insight reveals the Tencent's vulnerability, a weak point at their navel. Sagiri embraces her own affinity for Kai, surprising Mudon with a forceful strike aimed at his navel. The ensuing impact forces Mudon to the ground, his defeat apparent. Meanwhile, Gabimaru reflects on his incomplete Kai mastery while Mei remains by his side. The unexpected resurgence of Mudon shatters the brief tranquility. Defying all odds, Mudon reappears, heralding a renewed challenge for the resolute group. Shion arrives just in time, rescuing them from Mudon's assault. Yurugai cuts the roots of the flowers impeding Santa's recovery, as Yuzuri tends to him. In tandem, Shion engages Mudon, while Sagiri and Yurugai protect the team, using Yuzuri's mucus as defense against scratches and flower growth. Their collective strategy exposes Mudon's weaknesses, allowing Shion to inflict a significant wound. Determined to prevent more loss, Shion, Sagiri, and Yurugai immobilize Mudon, unveiling his true weakness at the flower's center. With Santa's revelation and Yuzuri's sacrifice, Shion strikes Mudon's core, sealing his defeat. As time dwindles, Santa imparts wisdom, and Yuzuri aids Shion at the cost of her own well-being. Gabimaru awakens, his memory fragmented. Shion enlightens him about Tao's power and risks, discussing the enigmatic elixir and Gabimaru's past. Sagiri finds hope amidst sorrow, believing in Gabimaru's potential redemption and reunion with his wife. In the heart-pounding finale of Hell's Paradise, Gabimaru's unyielding journey through trials of life and death reaches its zenith. Amidst battles and revelations, his mastery of Kai becomes a testament to his unbreakable spirit, leaving an indelible mark on the tapestry of this captivating tale.